Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I'm sure you've read that line if you're someone who's an avid reader or an avid learner about business. But what I realize in my conversations with a lot of business owners is that for them the word culture is something that is relevant only for large companies and large brands, and the thought process is hamara to chota business hai, ours is a small business, culture and all these things are not relevant to us. But here's the truth. You don't think about culture when you scale up. You think about and create an effective culture at your workplaces so that you can scale up. And today in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can set up an effective culture at your workplace. Doesn't matter what the size of your team is, doesn't matter what the financial situation of your business is. Culture is an important conversation to have. Culture is an important conversation to understand. So let's understand, how do you build an effective culture? And for that, I'm going to share with you 5 steps that you can follow and build an effective culture at your workplace by the end of this video. So make sure you watch this video till the end, and at the end of the video I also have a special invitation for you to continue the conversation with me, so we continue the learning journey together. So firstly, my name is Rajiv Talreja and I'm a business coach. I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs build scalable, profitable businesses. I have built 6 businesses by myself, and one of the things that I pride myself on, I know you shouldn't brag about yourself, but this is something that I genuinely pride myself on, is the quality of the culture I have built at all the workplaces in all the businesses that I have created so far. So honestly, this is a topic that's close to my heart. Make sure you have a notebook and a pen ready, because I'm going to give you 5 steps of building an amazing culture at your workplace. So before I get started with the 5 steps, let's define what is an amazing culture, what is an effective culture, what's a good culture at a workplace. Now for me, an amazing culture is a culture where team members value and prioritize results and relationships at the same level. Think about it. If an environment is only prioritizing results, then obviously it becomes a very task-oriented, dictatorial, authoritative environment where people don't experience joy, people don't feel cared for, and naturally people don't stay for long in those kind of environments. On the other hand, if the environment, the workplace culture is such where people only prioritize relationships and they don't care about the results, then that becomes a coffee shop culture where people come together, have a lot of fun, chit chat, crack jokes with each other, share lunches with each other, spend time with each other even after office hours, but nobody cares about the results. And those kind of organizations are not sustainable, and in fact those kind of organizations are unhealthy even for the career of individuals working in such companies, because you naturally become low performers, and tomorrow when you step out to another workplace, you are probably at the bottommost rung of the team, because you are habituated in this coffee shop style where you call yourself a family and you just go with the flow, and nobody cares about challenging each other, nobody cares about getting the best out of each other, nobody cares about doing the best that is possible to achieve the goals. People have a habit of just holding hands and singing kumbaya with each other in those kind of cultures. So for me, an effective culture, an amazing culture, is a culture where there's a balance between results and relationships. Only results, not good enough. Only relationships, not good enough. So the question is, how do you create that culture where there's a balance between results and relationships, where there's a priority given to both results and relationships? That's what I want to share with you today in the 5 steps that you need to follow to build an effective culture at your workplace. So let's get started by understanding what are the 5 steps to build an effective culture. The first step is education. Now, what do I mean by education? Before you embark on this journey of building an effective culture at your workplace, you need to educate your teams on what is an effective culture. So how do you educate them? You exactly tell them what I told you 30 seconds ago. You talk to them about balancing results and relationships. You talk to them about how only result-oriented environments are not fulfilling environments, and how only relationship-oriented environments are actually pansy environments where the job actually does not get done. So you educate your team and you establish the understanding that a high-performance culture is a culture where results and relationships are prioritized. A high-performance culture is a culture where results and relationships are focused upon and taken care of. And that is the first step. That's the initiation point of building a high performance culture. Step number 1, education. Step number 2 is to do an exercise where you give a sheet of paper to every single team member on the team and you ask them to list situations that occur at the workplace where relationships are compromised and list situations that occur at the workplace where results are compromised. Make them do a situation listing exercise. Now let me tell you something. Your team will have way more practical ground reality examples to list than you can even think of or you can even imagine. Now think about it. When you ask them to list situations where results are compromised, then they will give you situations accordingly. They will say results get compromised when a team member gives a personal reason and says that they cannot stay back and get the job done. On the other hand, when you ask them to create a list of situations where relationships get compromised, they'll say relationship gets compromised when one department does not do what they're supposed to do because there's a personal conflict between the two department heads. So like this, you ask them to create a list of situations, and as they are listing it individually, once they are done listing it individually, you compile these situations on a common chart paper. So make one master list of situations where results gets compromised, master list of situations where relationships gets compromised. This gives you a list of ground realities that are happening in your business where results and relationships are actually compromised. Now what do you do with this list? Once you have this master list, then you go to step number 3. Step number 3 is put your team members in groups and ask them to brainstorm solutions of how should we encounter or how should we handle the situations where results get compromised and how should we handle the situations where relationships gets compromised. So put them in the spot. Let them define what is our way of dealing with the situation, what is not our way of dealing with the situation. Let them brainstorm and come up with the culture. The biggest mistake companies make is they get an external consultant and they expect that external consultant to design the value system and the culture of an organization. And those external consultants come with standard copy-paste templates with flowery words like integrity, responsibility, respect for all. Honestly, those kind of words end up becoming fancy flowery words in the reception area or on the website or in your orientation PPT, and the ground reality is totally different. We want to build the culture from the situations and by the people. That's when it's a culture of the people. And for that, you give them the master list of situations where relationships and results gets compromised and ask them to brainstorm what is our way, what is not our way. For example, if let's just say a situation that they've listed is that relationships get compromised when one department does not do the job and that affects the goals of the other department, because of which it creates an ego conflict. Now that's a situation, that's a very normal situation that happens at workplaces. Now you put them in the spot in groups and say, now what's our way, what's not our way, define it. So let them brainstorm and define it, saying what is not our way of dealing with the situation is to build an opinion about the department, make the conflict personal, gossip about the people of another department within our department, act like victims, and then look at taking revenge when tomorrow their dependency is on us. Let them list all the behaviors which is not our way, which are not effective, and then let them define the behaviors which should be our way. So let's just say the situation is one department does not do the job which affects the goal of another department. In this, they need to brainstorm and come up with what is our way of dealing with the situation. So they say, our way of dealing with the situation is we don't make it a people conflict. Our way of dealing with the situation is we hold them responsible without blaming them and assassinating their character. We ask them questions like, what was missing from your end? What will change moving forward? Okay, what can we count on you for? So that we get clear commitments from them and we are solution focused rather than blame focused. So, when you put people in groups and you give them these kind of situations where relationships and results get compromised, you tap into the group consciousness, you tap into the group intelligence, and they come up with what's the right thing to do in that situation. And that becomes a more alive format of creating and designing a culture that can be practiced on a daily basis. So that is your step 3 to take. Brainstorm and define our way, not our way, for every situation that has been listed in step number 2. And once you've done brainstorming and defining our way and not our way as an organization for those situations where relationships get violated or results get violated, then you go to step number 4. You design what is our way, not our way as a poster and you paste it in the walls of your office. Culture has to be visible, otherwise it gets forgotten. So what you need to do is hire a graphic designer, give that graphic designer this list of situations where results get violated, list of situations where relationships get violated, and give them what has the team defined as our way, not our way for each situation, and tell them to design it in a nice, colorful, fancy manner and paste it as a poster on the walls of your office. So it acts as a reminder, it acts as a reinforcement, it acts as an accountability tool where tomorrow if somebody is demonstrating a behavior which is not our way, then a third party in the team can tap them on the shoulder and point at the poster and say, which way? Our way, not our way, or which highway are you on? It acts as a great reinforcement tool. So design and paste, that's step number 4 to create a high performance culture. Which brings me to the last and final step. Once you've defined the culture, once you've designed it as a poster and you've pasted it on the walls of your office, the last step is the most critical step, because this is a continuous activity. The first 4 steps is a one-time activity. You educate them, that's a one-time activity. You ask them to list situations, that's a one-time activity. You ask them to brainstorm and define our way, not our way, one-time activity. You design it as a poster pasted on the walls of your office, one-time activity. But then comes the continuous activity, which is step number 5 of building an effective culture. And step number 5 is review, reaffirm, realign, and build role models. So there are 4 R's in step number 5 of building an effective culture. Let me break down each of these R's for you. The first R in step number 5 is to review this. What do I mean by review this? In your weekly team meetings or in your monthly team meetings, you need to have an agenda to discuss the culture, where you go back to the culture that has been designed and defined and you ask the team members, when these situations happened, did we go our way or not our way? Okay, and if we went not our way, you reaffirm the importance of our way and you realign people by taking a commitment from them on what will be different. How will they demonstrate the behaviors differently to align to what we have defined as our culture in the organization? So you review, you reaffirm, and you realign people to the culture during your team meetings. That's how you make sure the conversation around culture is alive. You don't just bury this conversation by pasting a poster. You keep the conversation alive in every team meeting. So have an agenda for culture review, for culture reaffirming, and for culture realignment. You got to do this if you're serious about building an effective work culture. And in the team meeting, while you're reviewing this, you can also ask team members to share if there are any new situations where results and relationships are getting compromised, and you can add that to the list and add our way, not our way. So you're constantly updating your culture framework. And the last R, apart from reviewing, reaffirming, and realigning, is to reward and recognize the role models. What does that mean? Number 1, you need to take it for granted. You need to be a walking, talking role model for our way that has been listed. Which means if you as a leader are not being the culture, don't expect the organization to build a culture. The organization is a reflection of who you are. So firstly, you need to be a role model. And while you are the role model as a business owner, you need to reward and recognize those who are emerging as role models of the culture, so that people understand what's the benchmark of leadership within the organization. That is a very, very important exercise. So I hope you found this useful. These were the 5 steps of building an effective, amazing culture at your workplace. And if you found this useful, go out there and follow these steps and drop me a message once you do these exercises with your team on what was the impact, what changed, what worked, what didn't work for you. And I'll be happy to serve and support you. And beyond this video, here's what I need you to do. I need you to do 2 things right now. Number 1, click on the subscribe button of my YouTube channel. If you found this content useful, might as well subscribe and consume more content which is useful for business owners. So click on the subscribe button. That's step number 1. Do it right now. Do it. Good one for those of you who do it. You're action takers. And second, there's a link in the caption of this video for my 4-hour live training called Business Breakthrough Seminar. If you found this conversation useful, then click on the link and register yourself for my 4-hour live Business Breakthrough Seminar, where I break down for you the 7 foundational activities of building a stable and successful business. I break down for you the 3 key changes you need to make to build a business which can grow without you, because most entrepreneurs are stuck in the trap of firefighting and doing everything by themselves. The Business Breakthrough Seminar is a breakthrough learning experience for entrepreneurs. Over 1 lakh entrepreneurs from more than 190 different industries and sectors have experienced this and have been impacted by it. So make sure that you click on the link, register yourself. I look forward to seeing you in that 4-hour conversation called Business Breakthrough Seminar.